Joining me today is Yoel Israel, founder of IsraelTech, WadiDigital and Cyfluencer. He's at the forefront of Israel's startup ecosystem, helping tech companies grow, scale, and tell their stories globally. Yoel, it's great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It's actually going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I love the work that you're doing. You're covering a lot of great, important technology and things that drives business innovation and people forward and helps families and nations do great work. So I'm totally honored to be on. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you, Yoel. So, Yoel, tell me, what are some of the biggest trends shaping the Israeli startup ecosystem right now?
Okay, so Israel's known as the startup nation, but actually Israel's been going through a transition over the last several years. And I don't think it's intentional. I think it's natural. We've gone from what people are saying the startup nation to the scale-up nation. They're about half the startups, literally, than they were several years ago. That being said, there's a lot of startups. What we're seeing is a lot of companies are starting to scale up their businesses instead of looking for an exit and make a profit. Part of that's just the natural maturity. If you're a first-time founder and you have success and you can exit and become a multimillionaire and never have to work again, you're going to take that exit. But if not, then you're going to go with all of your network, all of your connections to VCs, partners, clients, everything that you have throughout the world. You go start a new startup. Your goal now is you've made your money. Now your goal is to build something and leave a legacy and do something greater far beyond you. So what we're seeing now is a lot of entrepreneurs who've had exits instead of doing their second exit. What they're doing is with their third exit, they're now looking to scale, maybe go public, or looking for some kind of maybe or a partnership, a natural M&A where they keep the brand within the within an enterprise. Another thing that we're also seeing, of course, cybersecurity is about half of the startups in the technology in Israel. Israel's a leader in cybersecurity, but because of the war, we're seeing a massive shift into defense tech. The reason is very natural. Israel's under threat from all with internally and internationally on our borders and far away from Yemen and Iran. So unfortunately, that means defense really needs to be strong. What we're going to start to see is all kinds of amazing technologies when it comes to, let's say, such as sensors, cameras that are used on satellites and blimps, anything that used to collect information, that technology being developed in order to go and crawl through tunnels. This is technology that we're going to find being used in real life in the private sector. That's going to make all our lives better. So that's probably the main thing, the main changes happening in trends in the ecosystem that wouldn't have been true just a year and a half ago.
So talk to me a little bit more about the geopolitical climate and how it's impacting innovation and investment in Israeli tech.
So there's two components. One kind of where I was talking about the geopolitical is the defense tech, but then also understanding Israel needs to actually, as much Israel's always focused on this, but is doing it much more. We need to expand and bring more people into the technology ecosystem and into the economy. Something that I'm doing at IsraelTech is helping more people get in and involved. Because we need more manpower, person power. We need more people involved in tech. We need more brains, means more solutions. So that's one of the things that we're starting to see when it, from the geopolitics is forcing that. We're also seeing improved logistics. And then some other things we're seeing about innovation is during war, you end up deregulating. And deregulation is a major component of what's the Israeli economy desperately needs. The Israeli tech ecosystem, much like the American, is not regulated. But Israel, that had original socialist roots, is way over-regulated on all other industries. But all those industries are obviously integrated in a way in serving the tech ecosystem, banking as an example. So ideally, we're going to start to see more deregulation because of geopolitics, also more defense tech, which I've mentioned, but we're also seeing more deep tech. Israel's always thinking very long term, right? 5% of Israel's GDP is invested into R&D more than any other country by a significant margin, because these defense tech companies is what's going to, the deep tech companies is what's really going to help Israel lead into the medium and long term. And we know those investments need to be made now and focused in order for Israel to be able to succeed and help the world to innovate and go positively into the future.
And what do you think makes Israel such a unique hub for early stage startups and global tech partnerships?
Well, so there are probably a few parts of what makes Israel unique. One is geography, is how small Israel is, right? It's smaller than Jersey, and everyone's centered. So within an hour drive of where I'm sitting, you got half of the world's cybersecurity startups, just to understand how immersed we are. So the fact that what's great about Silicon Valley is got so close is that you've got VCs, you got engineers, you got entrepreneurs, you got anything that you can imagine that you need for an extremely successful tech ecosystem. The reason why they're the leaders. Now, America is a massive country, So if you have Boston, New York, or Austin trying to develop a tech ecosystem, it needs to develop its own tech ecosystem, almost independent and in a sense competing with Silicon Valley. Israel doesn't have that challenge. Israel has ironically, the advantage of being such a small country, not just geographically, they were all sitting on top of each other, but also Israel's such a small country, everyone knows each other. Everyone's kind of related to one another. It goes very natural when it comes to a lot of just the joke about Jewish geography. Any two Jews can find out 50 people that they already know in somewhere another country throughout the world, ones that they even have never even been to. But also the government is doing a lot to actually help early stage startups. They encourage strongly those that leave the army working on technology is go ahead and go into the private sector. Go and do that. Another thing about early stage startups, and specifically when it comes to global tech partnerships, is Israel is a small market. We're about 10 million people. So in order for Israel to succeed, we're always thinking internationally, not how can we help us domestically? How can we make a massive impact internationally? So from the beginning, we're thinking global. And so therefore, we're able to have a greater effect. And these early stage startups are already thinking about scaling, not just to the United States, but to the world, because that's what's necessary to unlock these markets.
All right, Yoel, let's switch gears. So new media is reshaping how we consume and share information. How do you see it evolving, and what impact does it have on business and marketing?
Well, when it comes to marketing, my background is in technology, in marketing and finance, right? And I build a new media company now, IsraelTech, which is what we're talking about, covering the ecosystem. People don't, if you're under 35, you're not going to a news website. I'm sorry, you're not going to techcrunch.com or Forbes or any of these, or even the niche ones. The first thing you do when you go in the morning, you go on your phone, you don't go to a website, you open up your favorite app, your social media app. And the goal is that new media needs to be there. That's what you got to be. You got to go where the people are, speak their language, and understand the algorithms. But more importantly, it's about gaining trust, right? So I trust the New York Stock Exchange, but really right now I'm talking to you. And because I trust you, therefore I trust for the stock exchange. So we're getting to a human to human way of trust, is that you trust individuals, we don't trust businesses. In B2B business, we like to say cliche, it's H to H, it's human to human. And in a sense, it's true, it's always human to human. And trust at the most basic level, we need someone that we can trust that will give us truth and resources that don't lie to us, right? And this is what people are looking for. And thankfully, the internet and the free market has provided a place for us to be able to communicate amongst ourselves without major players that, in a sense, aren't held as accountable and don't have as much to lose as an individual to maybe manipulate and mislead. So there's a reason why Joe Rogan will get more viewers than all CNN 24 hours globally. And that's because people trust him. And people don't necessarily trust CNN, the brand, but people may trust one person at CNN, tune in that hour, but won't tune in any other time. So that's what's important to understand. It's people to people, and new media, you need to go where people are. The middleman no longer exists. I can publish a book without any of the big companies. I can start a video show like this without having to go through ABC, NBC, etc. It has been completely flattened and there's no hierarchy. And in a sense, we can all be reporters. We can all add value. We can all do research. We can all communicate and share. And it's been completely, it's been decentralized. And therefore, the exchange of media and information has become democratized. It couldn't be more exciting. And those that adapt and go to where the people and individuals are on socials, if they go there first, they're going to be the ones that's going to be able to drive the message and make a positive impact for the future of media and communications between individuals.
All right. And finally, Yoel, tell me, what trends are you seeing right now that are really moving the needle?
When it comes to new media?
Yes.
So I would say one is, of course, video. But really what's happening is people are saying attention spans are shrinking. And I would actually say it's split. People are going to much longer content and much shorter content. No one wants 20, 30-minute segments as much. People go to long, deep conversations. They'll put in their earbuds, go on the train while I go for a walk. That's when I listen to my podcast, right? Listening to 2X, washing dishes. And then there are people that are just short when you might just be chilling at the end of the day, a break in between work or something. We just want to scroll and get some quick dopamine, some quick fun things. You might then share and engage with friends. So the new trend in new media is video, but it's going long form and short form. The other thing is all social media platforms, their algorithms are all focusing on one thing, and that's dwell time. How long are you spending on a post? Now, video has an added benefit that if they actually engage and watch this, like you're watching this now, this is helping the dwell time. Therefore, more people will see this because you're spending more time on this post than this was text only. And let's say if you read it in like in 30 seconds. Another thing that other trends that are people stop using hashtags altogether, which is an interesting thing to consider, with the exception of maybe events, and there are other times to use hashtags, but hashtags are no longer being used. I know on X, it actually hurts your reach. It actually has a negative impact that's working to the algorithm. And so being able to meet people where they are at their attention spans and understanding how they consume individuals. People are stopped seeing platforms and starting to see end users. People like I'm going to post this when people can commute to or from work, right? When people run their maybe Saturday morning errands, right? Going to the supermarket, mowing the lawn, and that's when they might listen to long form. Short form might be in between their short breaks during work. So understanding how humans actually, and people in the workforce, those are disposable income, often those we want to reach, understanding how they actually consume things and their attention on their phone is probably the most important way for you to be able to adapt into the new media environment.
All right. Well, Yoel, it's been wonderful to talk with you. Thank you for joining me on Floor Talk today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. And if anyone wants to stay up to date, they can find me on LinkedIn and X, or they can find us at IsraelTech.com.